What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk Buffalo. Today, unfortunately, we're going to be talking about the mess that is the Buffalo Sabres. And boy, are they a mess. We'll start with the last 10 games. In the last 10 games, the Buffalo Sabres are 2-8. 2-8. They've scored just 17 goals in those 10 games, including being shut out 3 times. And that is also including the last 2 games where they've been shut out both times. The Sabres have also given up 30 goals in the last 10 games. The Sabres are just 6-10-3 overall and sit in last place in the East Division. They are 10 points out of a final playoff spot. Obviously, the prediction that I had for the Buffalo Sabres was way off at the beginning of this year, where I had the Buffalo Sabres maybe not making the playoffs, but competing for a playoff spot. I thought the additions of Hall and Stahl and Reeder and Sheehan and Eakin, I thought that was enough to maybe push the Sabres over the top or be right in the mix. I thought that would give them enough firepower in the first 2 lines and some grinders and such in the last 2 lines to be able to make a push, to be a competitive team in the NHL. I was wrong. I was very, very, very wrong. The Sabres have the best power play in the NHL. When I wrote my notes down, they had the best power play in the NHL. It might be down a little bit the last few games. They haven't been performing that well on the power play, but at the time of writing this, they were the number 1 power play in the entirety of the NHL. That's impressive. But they still only averaged 1.7 goals in the last 10 games, while giving up 3 goals a game. That's fucking embarrassing, man. Absolutely embarrassing. So we're going to jump over to my buddy Mark now, and he can give some of his thoughts on the Buffalo Sabres.
Hello again, Buffalo sports fans. Mark here, and while there was no Nickel City Sports Corner last episode, I hope everyone was able to tune in and listen. Drew had a great interview with Damon Talbot of NFL Draft Diamonds about UB football's top prospects. Now, for this edition of the Sports Corner, Drew asked me to focus on the Buffalo Sabres. Dear God. Okay, listen. Before I go any further, I just got to say that while I don't pretend to be as clued in on hockey like I am football, I am indeed a fan of the Sabres. But, oh my God, is it physically stressful to watch the current product being offered up to us. Between the lackluster performance on the ice to whatever is going on behind closed doors that is leading to the head-scratching decisions being made, Skinner, this organization has become a shell of its former self. The franchise, and honestly the fan base as well, is in such disarray, I fear that whatever has infected it over the last 8 seasons will eventually cause us to turn into the Walking Dead and begin eating ourselves. As of recording this, the team has lost 6 of their last 8 games, is currently dead last in their division, and double-digit points out of even a wild card berth. I honestly don't know what the answer is to turning things around, but it's not a jersey color change or trading franchise pieces like Jack Eichel. Drew, I really hope you have some insight that can help me and other fans of the Sabres see even a faint light at the end of this long, long, long tunnel of misery. That'll do it for me this week. Thank you all for listening, and catch you all next time.
That was my buddy Mark on Nickel City Sports Corner. If you're new to the show, that's something that I am trying to do, incorporate some other voices and some other opinions in the show. And he talked about shedding some light on maybe some of the problems that the Sabres have. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go over some of the things that I think have contributed to the Buffalo Sabres being dead last in the East Division and one of the worst teams in the NHL. The first problem is Jack Eichel has been playing hurt most of the season. He came into the season hurt, and I think somewhere along the way he got hurt again, and I truly believe that his entire season he has not been playing at 100%, and you can tell. He's just not engaged physically as he was last season. Jack Eichel's biggest weapon is his speed, and you just don't see it. You don't see the burst. You don't see his speed. It's hurt him with his skating, his physicality, and his overall effectiveness. I think the injuries are really playing a toll or putting a toll on Jack Eichel and making him perform. And the fact is that he is still almost a point-per-game player, and I think he's playing at probably like 75%. That's my guess. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. I don't talk to Jack. That's my opinion. I think Jack Eichel's playing at about 75%, and he's still almost a point-per-game player. So anyone that comes at me with, we should trade Jack Eichel, you can fuck right off into the sun. I will shoot your opinion into the sun because that's where it belongs. We're not going to do another Ryan O'Reilly where we trade it for guys, two of the three who aren't even in the fucking NHL anymore. And the third one is, he shouldn't be in the NHL either. He's fucking awful. Tage Thompson is, and we signed him for 3 more fucking years. Jesus Christ, what are we doing? The second problem is the mismanagement of players, none more evident than Jeff Skinner. Now, Jeff Skinner, before these last 2 games over the weekend, had been scratched for 3 games prior. 3 games prior. Scratched. Healthy scratch. Jeff Skinner, and I know that they've been shut out with him in the lineup, but when he's in the lineup, he's playing with guys like Lazar and Sheehan in this last game, or Eakin and Reeder. Like, what the fuck is he going to do with those guys? Come on. Let's be real. Let's be real. You're giving him limited ice time in a defensive zone, face-offs. You're not putting him in position to score, and then you're surprised that he doesn't score goals. Like, what do people think is going to happen? Another problem is the backup goaltender situation, who is now the fucking starter, unfortunately. Linus Ullmark was having a fantastic season, and right around where I thought he would be, about a .918 is where I said he would finish the season. Right now, he's at a .919 and was playing fantastic hockey, giving the Sabres a chance to win every single game. Now, I thought Carter Hutton would come in and be better than he has been. He's been terrible. Excluding the last game, I don't put the last game on Carter Hutton. I thought he played fairly well in that game, but overall, Carter Hutton has been straight trash. In his last 7 games, 8 games now, I believe, he is 1-6-1, and at the time of writing my notes down, he had a 3.20 goals against average and a .896 save percentage. That's just not going to get it done in the NHL, and the Sabres seem to keep believing that he's going to somehow turn it around. He's the worst. He has the worst lateral movement in the NHL, in my opinion. I watch all these other goalies, and he's fucking terrible side to side. He's constantly out of position. He always gives up bad goals, and that's a huge problem. The Buffalo Sabres have also had numerous injuries. Obviously, I stated Jack Eichel. Jake McCabe is out for the season with an injury. Ristolainen, he didn't have an injury, but he had COVID, so he was out. It really affected him, but he's come back in and seemingly played fairly well the last 2 games. Borgen came in, looked like an NHL defenseman, looked like, yes, we have ourselves a nice young prospect. Of course, gets hurt out 6 to 8 weeks. And as I stated, Linus Ullmark, he's out a month. Sabres are fucked. Without Linus Ullmark, the Sabres are fucked because they don't have that big backstop in goal that he was providing. He was playing simply lights out. Now, the last problem is the Sabres cannot score, and they look in complete disarray. Which brings me to the biggest problem that we have, and I think that is Ralph Krueger. Ralph Krueger, I believe, has duped the Buffalo Sabres management, and not just once, but twice. He duped Jason Botterill, and he duped Kevin Adams into being able to stay as the Buffalo Sabres head coach. They owe him nothing right now. Last season, the Sabres weren't terrible, but they sure as fuck weren't good. And this season, the Sabres are fucking terrible. They can't score. They look in disarray. The player mismanagement is out of this world bad. His system is dump and chase. What is this, 1996? What are we doing? Dump and fucking chase? Dump and chase. You have so many guys that can carry the puck into the offensive zone, and you're going to dump and fucking chase. That is your system. Blows my mind. Sabres have Eichel, Hall, Reinhart, Skinner, Dahlin, Ristolainen. All these guys can carry the puck. 2 guys on the back end, multiple guys on the front end. They can all carry the puck. And you got these guys doing a dump and chase. The Sabres are doing a dump and chase with no grit, no determination, no heart, no nothing. That's not the style that this team is built for. And Ralph doesn't seem to get that through his head. I think the Sabres have taken on Ralph's persona. And that's a big problem. Because they play with no fire, no passion, no intensity. And watching the Sabres, this is going to show my age a little bit, watching the Sabres makes me feel like Jimmy Dugan from A League of Their Own when he is trying his best not to scream at one of his players. Just fucking, ah. That's how I feel when I watch the Sabres. I just want to fucking lose my mind all the time. Kruger throws around terms like accountability. Accountability. Who is accountable for Jeff Skinner being scratched for 3 straight games? Who is accountable for that? Who's accountable? I mean, it's got to be Kruger, right? Kruger talks of accountability. And then they bring Jeff Skinner back into the lineup, and guess where he goes? Which is what I stated earlier. Right back on the 4th fucking line. So he gets no ice time. None. But who gets to play on the 2nd line? Kyle Okposo. Kyle fucking Okposo. I feel like at the end of Wolf of Wall Street, when he gets arrested and he's screaming about the hibachi restaurant. Benny Hanna? Benny fucking Hanna? That's how I feel. That's how I feel about Kyle Okposo, who hasn't been relevant for 3 years, being promoted to the 2nd line. When I seen that, I just didn't have any words. It was Kyle Okposo. Kyle fucking Okposo on the 2nd line? If you don't want to put Jeff Skinner there, fine. Don't put him there. You got a guy in Casey Middlestad has looked very good this season. He had 3 points in 6 games, a goal and 2 assists. Why are we burying guys like talented guys like Middlestat and Skinner? Middlestat played with fucking Eakin and Ryder, and Skinner played with Lazar and Sheehan. Fuck me, it's not rocket science. He's turning it into fucking rocket science. It's not. It's not rocket science. You put good players with other good players. Skinner's not capable of carrying a line himself. We know that. That's not his game. He is a sniper. He needs a playmaker. Jack Eichel is a playmaker. He's not a fucking sniper. Same thing with Middlestat. Middlestat is a playmaker. Why don't you put him on a line with Hall and Stahl? See what the fuck happens. Or put him on a line with Olofsson and Stahl. Olofsson's a sniper. Middlestat, Stahl are playmakers. It's not fucking rocket science. Why is it so hard? I don't understand. Makes me want to pull my hair out by the root. It's got me so mad I'm stuttering. It's ridiculous. So I think the only way to correct this ship, Ralph Kruger's got to go. That's all I can say. Ralph Kruger's got to go. That's how I'm going to end this podcast. Fire Ralph Kruger. That's going to do it for this episode of Sports Talk Buffalo. Thank you guys for listening. If you like what you hear, remember, tell your friends, tell your family. They can hear me on any of the major podcasting websites, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and, of course, Anchor. If video podcast is more your style, you can go check out my new YouTube page, Sports Talk Buffalo on YouTube. If you want to email me, you can email me at sportstalkbuffalo@yahoo.com or sportstalkbuffalo@gmail.com. And you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkBuff1. That's Sports Talk BUFF1 on Twitter. I would like to thank you guys all for listening. Have a fantastic week.